Hey guys, what's going on? Hello, Marlene, Nancy, Julia, Roderick, Xavier. I'm just waiting for some people to get here. How we doing, Sarah? Pemberley, hello, Rashid. I know like a lot of stuff has happened over the last course of the last few weeks, and I know some people are asking me to do a Q&A, so I figure come on here and chat with you guys a little bit. Hello, Amber. Hey, Vicky. Hey, hey, Trixie Cat. How we doing? Hello to you and Joe, Nancy, Julia. Hello again. Pemberley, Marlene. Likewise. Hey, Deb. Thank you, Gretchen. Appreciate it. Um, yeah, the last few days I've literally just been recharging, just shutting myself out. How are you doing, Nick? From all things paranormal. I've been sleeping like a baby last few days, going to the gym, just kind of resetting myself, so to speak. That was a really long trip. There's a lot of stuff that went on in so many ways, and so many weird, crazy, dark places and spirits we were communicating with. So, yeah, the last few days and just this week in general, I'm taking a break from paranormal stuff. It's a holiday weekend. I'm just going to try to enjoy myself, whether it's beach and drinks with friends or going out. Um, so that's why I figured I'd come on today and chat with you guys a little bit. Hello, Jack. How we doing, Judy? Um, if you guys want, I can jump on Instagram for a little bit and someone can call in and ask me questions like before. I was so drained in so many ways, I can't even begin to tell you. Um, I did so much driving. It's probably like 48 hours worth of driving in my car. I did a gazillion miles in my car. I got an oil change before I left, and now I pretty much have to get an oil change like now, since I got home. If that puts any retrospect towards that. Yes, doing stuff and engaging spirits for that long, and obviously there was like days here, and I'm doing documentary stuff and filming. We filmed the documentary on the story of the girl who was possessed and pregnant for my second book, and it's so messed up, it's so harrowing, and some crazy stuff went down, um, and I believe the girl needs an exorcism, and that may be happening at some point in the summer, and we'll be going down there to assist on that situation. Um, so that was a really negative week. Just a lot of stuff going on, filming there, and in between, and investigating more. I mean, I literally drove to Ohio. I was in Ohio for like 5 days or something like that, or 6 days, and then drove to North Carolina. Then I drove to Mississippi, back to North Carolina, then to Ocean City. 13 hours, 7 hours, 3 hours. Yeah, it just goes on and on and on. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it. Of course you are, Judy. Thank you, Nancy. Hello, Purgatory Paranormal. Just catching up here. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, Brent, it was an insane ride. Um, yeah, I definitely liked North Carolina. Beaches were gorgeous. People were laid back. Just the scene, I really dug it, and I'm sure I'll be going back at some point. Billy's, I'm sure, gonna want to do more stuff. And I'm really excited. You know, Maleficus, I watched the whole cut of the documentary, and I am super excited for all of you guys to see the final cut of this. Billy, you know, I went through it. I wrote down things for the voiceover that I wrote out, things that were happening, and I also caught some other stuff that he didn't catch and fixed some things around. And boy, I'm telling you that the documentary is fantastic. Billy did an amazing job. You know, he's done horror movies before, he's directed them, and there's a very horror movie type vibe with the documentary. And it's kind of like a horror movie meets a paranormal documentary. And I got chills. I got chills from watching the documentary and scenes, and I was there. I was experiencing stuff, and obviously I lived with it for 5 years. You know, the stuff and the references to all that things and things like that. So, um, it's just pretty astounding. So if I'm getting a reaction like that, I can't wait to see what people actually get that reaction from you guys. Costanza, what's up? Um, Christopher, what's going on? Um, so I really can't wait for you guys to check that out. I think it'll be coming out in the coming weeks. You'll be able to stream it from Scare Network. Obviously, you guys don't, if you don't know, Billy is trying to start a platform like a Shutter type of deal, but it's all original paranormal, horror, and true crime, and etc. type stuff where you can either stream it to all your stuff like Fire Stick or iPhones or Droid, whatever it is, or you can subscribe monthly, or rent each thing that you want. Um, Also got some exciting news for you guys. Definitely, Christopher. Yes, it was. So this summer, there is a paranormal conference in Connecticut. It's actually 15 minutes away from where I'm living right now. And I'm going to be there. I'm going to be doing a lecture. I'm going to have a table. And exciting that we are going to do and show a screener of Maleficus. And whoever wants to watch it, it's a 2-day event in the end of July. It'll be $5. And that'll be exciting too. We can do a Q&A regarding Maleficus if you're in the area. That's going to be something that I think will be shown maybe on both days for different people to check it out, and we can talk about it. So that's pretty damn cool. Eric's going to be there too. He's coming up. Billy's coming up for that. So that's going to be something special. Yeah. So I just wanted to, kind of throw that out there, make sure you guys know about that. So I will, once they make a poster for this, I will definitely post it on my social media and so forth. Yes. Got lots to do. Got lots of projects going on. Um, Christopher's July 24th and 25th. It's a Saturday and Sunday, the end of July. And yeah, it's going to be I think it's the first paranormal paracon in Connecticut. I guess that is the first, and I know that there's another one. The Warrens one. They have one in the fall. But I was asked to be a part of this, and knowing that we can do a screener of Maleficus and talk about that, and obviously it's personal to me. It's a pretty astounding story as a whole, and I think I can't wait to see people's reactions watching this story and experiencing it. And if they haven't heard about it, they don't know me, whatever it may be. So I think that'll be a really, really cool thing. So if you're in the area, if you can make it, um, if you want to look up the website, they'll be making a poster and adding Eric and Billy and stuff soon, any day now. It's Paracon, Paraconn, which is abbreviated Connecticut.org, I believe. Um, hey Jennifer, how you doing? Yeah, so that'll be something that I'll be posting about soon. Hey, what's up, Robert? Hey, Susan. Gretchen, sounds good. Oh, cool. Thank you, Purgatory Paranormal. Um, Looks like I have a couple investigations that I'm going to be doing next weekend. One of the places, it's been on my radar, and I'll tell you guys more about that when that's confirmed, and something on Sunday, I believe, too. So next weekend's looking paranormally, making up my own words here. Um, but again, I'll let you guys know more about that for next week. And another trip I'm planning, um, confirming and putting together in the coming weeks that I'll be getting on a plane for mid June. I'm just working hard, man. I'm just out there hustling. This is my passion. I mean, and again, I'm thankful to you guys that help support doing these trips. Yeah, hey, what's up, Wacky? Um, how often do I get actual sleep? Well, the last three nights, I actually slept like a baby. I mean, seriously, it's been nice. I just shut off from all paranormal stuff. Um, awesome, Madison Seminary. I know. Sorry we couldn't make that one. Thank you, Trixie Cat. Ghost emojis for Trixie Cat. Thank you so much. Can you share about your faith and the prayers you use in the work you do? It's a beautiful thing to hear your prayers for the spirits. Thank you. Absolutely. Well, the prayer I do for spirits is something that I kind of formulated myself. I say an Our Father and a Hail Mary, and I came up with my own improv prayer to Archangel Michael and trying to incorporate a visualization of white light. Visualization is a very powerful thing spiritually and spirituality in general. You can use this in many ways. Again, we're spiritual beings as a core, so these things are there for us if you're open to it, and they'll be able to use to your benefit to help yourself and help others. Um, I do a visualization of white light to kind of put together this scenario, hopefully the ideal, for the spirits to see the light, and praying to Archangel Michael, and also pray to any loved ones of this individual earthbound spirit that may be able to come towards the light, so I can put all these pieces together. So hopefully the spirit will go and have the incentive to go. And I think the combination of the direct individual communication with this spirit, the visualization of the white light, the prayer to Saint Michael, and also trying to pray for their loved ones to come to the light, so all these pieces are put together, and my intent being genuine and wanting this to happen, and everything what's going on, whatever location I am, whatever the history of that individual spirit and why they're earthbound. Hopefully, that is the key element that would send them into the light, and that's why I leave the spirit box on or whatever device I have, because I want to have extra validation, even if I get a feeling or an image that's given to me that a spirit was crossed over, because I want you people to watch that. I want to know, too. I get in, when you have psychic abilities at any degree, validation is the most prevalent thing for anybody that has abilities. Um, so, do I think anyone followed me home from this trip? I do not know yet. Obviously, I know I have a lot of spirits around me at all times. It's been quiet the last few nights. I'm probably gonna bless my room tonight because it's a full moon. And usually the full moon, sometimes my sleep does get messed up, and people who are more sensitive to the spirit realm can be more susceptible to that. Um, and so I it's just how it goes, I guess. But yeah, I'm a little bit more weary tonight of such things. And thank you for that question, Trixie. And obviously, my faith um, and how I approach cases and how I try to help spirits is obviously all balanced and um, comes with my faith as a core. You guys have any questions about the last few weeks or any experiences that you remember or anything like that? Anything in general? You want to share a story? I'm an open book. I'm excited just to sit here and chat for a little while with all you guys. Again, this week I'm just taking a sabbatical from Casper the Ghost and creatures from other dimensions. And I'll be back to it next week. And again, there's stuff coming up that you guys should be psyched about as well. Um, how I developed my psychic gifts over the years. Um, Well, Judy's a good friend of mine. She's actually has genuine, real abilities. She's actually guided me in ways. It's always nice to have people outside the box from your own abilities to guide you because it's really hard to be psychic for yourself. And Judy's a good friend of mine. She's guided me in a bunch of ways. She's been like an advisor in spirituality, my abilities and stuff, and what she picks up on. But for me, in general, you know, I think that being aware of this stuff, um, opening yourself up to the possibilities of the paranormal and engaging spirits constantly, you are going you're like going to a spiritual gym and you're flexing your spiritual muscles. So constantly you're using them, you're opening yourself up, and you're not trying to discount your experiences. And your aura, I believe, starts to change. My psychic gifts started to happen in the middle of my life. It's something that I did not expect at all. It was the last thing in the world I would have expected. Um, sure, Christopher. Um, but as soon as I started to investigate the paranormal, things happened to me very quickly. I started having experiences skipping paranormal grades, so to speak. Um, um, but it happened to me within like weeks of investigating. It was boom. I had an experience, shadow of a little girl at the corner of my bed, and then I started having dreams, and it happened within the first year, as if like boom, it was there the whole time, and it was. And these are things that I thought about when I got more spiritually endowed. I thought about if there was experiences that I had years ago when I was younger that would have been a sign of something. And I've brought up this stuff to you guys before, that I would have like images in my mind when I was younger of people's faces, and I wonder about it as a young kid. I'm like, am I able to make up people's faces with my imagination? Like, whose face was I seeing? These are things that I would think about. There were signs there that I would be involved in the paranormal later on. Trixie Cat, I know you asked about the Hail Satan thing. I've gotten that EVP many times in many different circumstances. So it's not something, that's like, oh wow. I mean, it's creepy. But if you're talking about the museum, there was a lot of other events that were going on there. It was just like, again, when the doll was taken out of the case, and your son Eric and I heard a little girl giggle, and the owner of the museum heard a growl, and for us to hear two completely different things. And then we were recording audio at the time and listened back, which Eric was recording, and there's nothing on the audio. And all three of us heard something different, us two and then him. It's just like that was astounding. The things that were leading up to that crazy EVP and what was going on was really the more crazy, creepy, unsettling thing. And that museum was nuts that night. Yeah, Judy, that sort of thing with the eating thing. I've been on the phone with people and I'll smell brownies and they're like, I smell brownies. They're like, I'm eating a brownie right now. Or like, I taste like grape in my mouth. She's like, someone be on the phone. I'm eating a grape ice pap. I have weird things that happen to me like that. I haven't had something like that happen in a while, actually, the food thing, but it's just random. My abilities are all over the place and just, I don't know. I'm still learning. It's a bizarre thing, but it's interesting. It's fascinating. Do you have any advice for investigators like myself who are working full-time jobs and don't have so much time as we like to devote to investigating? Like, what should I be doing to try to grow? Um, well, if it's your passion and you want it to be your passion, you'll find a way to do it. Um, you know what I mean? Like, just, whatever your work hours is, whatever time you have that's free, dedicate it to something you're passionate about doing, and whether it's paranormal or whatever it may be. You got to push and you got to persevere. I'm still a work in progress. I've accomplished some things, but I'm still working at things in the back of my mind that I want to accomplish. Still, I'm still working towards something, and I feel like I have more work to do um, in this whole thing that being involved in the paranormal. So, I haven't experienced anything with the Robert thing, Brent, since. So all good there so far. Yes, Nick, definitely. Um, but there's loaded questions when people watch the documentary. Again, I'll be really curious to know what everyone thinks. My new the doll I took from the possession case. I gave it to John Zaffis. He has that. Luckily, he took it the next day. And there's also a clown music box. They were both from the aunt who was heavily into witchcraft who gave this to the girl who ended up being possessed. And you'll hear more about that story. It's it's like the worst thing I have like ever heard in the paranormal. This case is so bad. It's so bad. Um, it's got the hallmarks of a Hollywood movie, but it's just so sad what happened to this poor girl. Um, but it's important, I think, the story to get out there and to show to people that not to mess around with this stuff. And this is what can happen in your life and to you and your loved ones if you invite it in. And that's the most important thing that I hope people get out of it. Yeah, Marlene. Um, spirits that you may know that are crossed over or something like that. They'll project some sort of smell or they'll project an image while you're sleeping because your subconscious mind's awake to give you some sort of symbolic experience associated with them. That's how spirits really communicate. And even for myself, too, it's like a game of spiritual charades. They'll show you images, they'll show you all sorts of things that you can connect the dots to who that may be coming from. What maybe get into the paranormal, Princess, Paranormal, California. Um, there was a friend of mine. Probably the biggest skeptic ever, and I was waitering at a restaurant with him, and I told him I wanted to have an experience. I took him to a cemetery that had a lore of three women in white that would chase you out. And that night was a defining moment. He's laughing the whole time, and I had a flip phone before we had these smartphones, and I did an EVP right in front of this little girl's grave. And not until the next night did I listen back to the little crappy recordings, and a little girl responded back to me. It was a defining moment for me. I had chills to the bone, and um, I knew that it was real. I watched shows, I watched documentaries, I believed it, but I never thought of going out and actually looking for it. Not until actually trying to prove to my friend. But once it actually hit me in the process of trying to prove to him, I was like, oh my God, like then I was drawn into it. Then I started going out and investigating and trying to increase the tier of experience and the tier of knowledge as I went. And I was just going out with recorders and just walking around cemeteries because I didn't have any live streams. I was doing it just to have the experience. Obviously, like live streaming, it's great because you guys get to witness this stuff with me. With some of this stuff, it's real, it's raw, it's genuine, and I know what that feels like too. I think that's something special in its own. But that's really how it began for me. Yeah, the smells will happen when you're awake, but your loved ones will. Um, your loved ones will project images, influence telepathically your dreams while you're sleeping because your mind is fully, uh, um, you know, susceptible to the spiritual realm when your physical body's falling asleep. Well, Christopher, when I was using my old flip phones, they had really crappy, low quality recordings, and that's why investigators will use white noise generators to increase the frequency volume for the spirit to project on a recording. If you guys don't know, I use an app not used for normal reasons. I've been using it for since the beginning, um, and I get fantastic EVPs on it. It's called Haytel, and I send the message to myself. It's a 30-second burst, little recordings. I use it all the time for me Eric's got a fantastic EVP thing method he's going with the Clover. I really like the Sony Saint thing that he uses, and I probably would experiment with that. But I do love the app that I use myself, and I get some really good EVPs too. And appreciate you guys if you're in here, if you can give this video a thumbs up, share it out if you can. Always appreciated. How do I, Judy wants to know, how do you handle a difficult case where the family involved have no belief in God or higher power of any kind? Well, I don't like to turn away anybody that wants help. If they're willing to listen to me, to let me try to do what I do, I'll still do what I do. Try to guide them to be open to, a higher power, to at least, because you can't fight these things with your fists or guns. I mean, it's a different ball game, dealing with the spiritual warfare. If you're dealing with evil spirits or human spirits, like, you can't just tell them to leave. It's a little bit more complicated than that. And some people might not be versed in that knowledge, and it's good to at least try to guide them. And most importantly, my intent is to try to help them. And even though it might be a little more trickier, to help those people, it's all we can do is try to help people, and just put that effort in. um, even Bishop McKenna, very well respected exorcist, worked with the Warrens. He wouldn't turn away anyone who didn't believe in God or just had different belief systems, and he would do his, um, Catholic ways. But these people would allow, even there were different religions, they'd have them come there and do that. And that's really how I approach things. That's how I feel. I'll help anyone that wants my help, and they're willing to listen. You can take risks. You are taking risks sometimes. If you feel like as if the people aren't willing to really get the help subconsciously, or if they have ulterior motives, you can put yourself in danger with these situations too. So you got to be careful. Um, if they in the back of their mind really don't want to get rid of what they want to get rid of, these evil spirits know this, and they'll use it against them and you. They'll come after you and lash out to you. They'll mock you, and they'll just use the situation to their advantage. And again, there's no conception of time, so they can actually see somewhat into the future, minus free will, to actually see, how it may play out, more so than any of us. Susan was asking which was the most haunted place last week on the road trips. Thank you, Brent. Sorry I missed that, Susan. Um, where did I go again? um, well, I've been to the Bel Air house so many times. It was definitely nasty in the basement. That was a unique experience. I thought it was really wild. We were not expecting the activity that we were getting. I thought it was really creepy at the escape room, and the furniture store next door, all the things that were coming through, with the mirror and all that stuff. But again, there's references, guys, to what was going on that night, for the Mississippi case with the girl who's possessed, that happened during that time filming that documentary. That's very unsettling. Wait till you hear. I mean, if you read my second book, you can read the story, but this is going to be a little bit more in depth of stuff that went on too. Um, we won't be showing their faces. We'll, changing their names like I did in the book. Um, but that's a really insane. I'm just going to tell you right now. Her son, when he was 3 years old, he admitted on camera that he saw his mother levitate 5 times, and one of the times she was so close to the ceiling she could have touched it. And one of the times I was on the phone with this kid when he was 3 years old, she went silent into a trance, and then the little kid goes, "Look, mommy's floating." The stuff that comes out of this kid's mouth and the visions he's had, the spiritual gifts. I'm telling you, it's going to give you serious chills. It's just really insane. He's had some really descriptive, amazing visions regarding God, the devil, the Holy Spirit, and Jesus fighting demons, when he was 3 years old. That there's no way this kid could have made it up himself, on top of all the unsettling stuff that was going on. So it's truly a harrowing, it's terrifying. Again, though, if you know evil exists, you know that God exists, and in this experience, and I'm gonna have to return, I think, and there's gonna be an exorcism done on her, and I plan to document it, and hopefully put it as a part of the documentary to show the whole um, thing put together, and hopefully that'll be the end of this darkness this poor girl has had. Since she invited in and used satanic magic, black magic, since she was like 15 or 16 years old, which is like, you know, 10, 15 years now. There's so much to this story. Like I said, man. If you don't know about the story, you want to read the story before the documentary comes out. I think we're planning to have the documentary coming out around fall, Halloween time. Um, I've never seen a possession case like this before, where a girl was actually pregnant and possessed. And this was something that I experienced, I went through, uh, that I tried to help this girl. This is before I was met Ralph. I didn't have any experience in demonology. I was just reading about demonology. I was reading about it, but I was not experienced to handle what was going on. But I knew it was important to document things. She was states away, and I knew that, like, no one wanted to touch the case with a 10-foot pole because she was pregnant, and if something happened to the baby, you could be held responsible. At the same time, I just was recording stuff. I had her document stuff, and I was experiencing stuff in my own home. I got physically attacked in my home. I mean, the whole 9 yards. So no pun intended with the number there. um yeah, yep, Judy, yep, right around that time. And I just it's just surreal. It's really, really surreal. I always pray after locations, Alfred, to try to revoke any permission for any evil spirits to follow me home or us home, whoever's with us or me. Um, yes, Marlene, definitely. And that's not even half the footage. Um, yeah, but things still happen. You got to take every precaution necessary, but we take risks as investigators. We go to these places. We don't know what we're doing. In the end, there's no guarantee of what may or may not happen. And obviously, I'm always praying for spirits. And look at this Malefist story. It's a perfect example of what can happen if you try to help a spirit. You take a soul away from the devil. You're making yourself an adversary to the enemy of man. That's the devil. You got to be prepared for that choice. And that's obviously what I dealt with for 5 years. This situation trying to take revenge against me. And I've had this situation from other things too, pissed off that I crossed over spirits. So, obviously, um, obviously um, I do what I do. I feel like I'm drawn to do that. I'm supposed to do it. Called to do it, and that's a part of my mission here. It seems like from the beginning, it's been a calling to deal with dark entities, to deal with evil spirits, but also to help human souls. And that's just doing what Jesus would do. Really, he would help any soul or person he would come in contact with, and try to free them and give them peace. Um, yeah, and that's probably why, I mean, I believe that's why Jesus and God are so forgiving of humans, because we don't have the knowledge. We come here and we make bad decisions. But that's the opportunity how we can learn and progress and bring a brightness to our soul by learning the lessons we're capable of learning in our lives. Thank you, Christopher. Why do you think spirits are sometimes hesitant to tell all, as they are not allowed or answer hard questions? Thank you, Trixie Cat. Just making sure I didn't miss anyone. Thank you, Vicky. So Alfred, sorry if I missed someone's question. Um, I again, it's never just one answer. It's whatever the individual spirit has gone through in their life, why they're truly earthbound, why they're trapped. Is it their own consciousness of energy that's actually keeping them trapped because of their own mindset? Is there another spirit, a third person perspective, a spirit that's holding them back and keeping them in a low vibrational frequency in their emotional energy that they're representing as a soul? Are they attached to an object, a home? There's so many different things that it could be, and that's why engaging that spirit and try to communicate with it, depending on the experience or the location or what the people are experiencing in a home that might be dealing with spirits. There's all these different factors where you'd be able to have a closer proximity to what you're trying to figure out what the spirit is doing and why it's there and why it's earthbound in the end. Do spirits ever give you messages in dreams, Trixie Cat? Absolutely. I try to tell everyone. Hello, Chantel. Doing okay. When you're sleeping is when your rational mind's fully asleep. Your subconscious mind's fully awake. We are spiritual beings as a core. When your physical body is asleep, you're more awakened in the spiritual sense. And spirits, good and bad, and loved ones and all that stuff, they all know this. And that's why they'll come to us and they can project and telepathically influence your dreams, give you messages, feelings, they can give you nightmares, all this sort of stuff during that time period. So if there's spirits and human souls that are earthbound, that are desperate for energy and acknowledgement, that's also why they'll go towards children, because kids are fresh from the spirit realm. They have not been contaminated with irrational perspectives that are hammered into their impressionable minds to tell them that ghosts aren't real and go to bed. They don't have imaginary friends. And that's why spirits in general will gravitate towards children just because of that same thing. But most people are not tuned into this stuff. But when they're sleeping, they have a better chance to be open to that. And that's why spirits and ghosts and evil spirits will come to us in general because of that. I think I get messages from guides during the day while I'm awake. Well, if you're open to your guides and your guardian angels, they're all around you, and I believe that the more that you are open to them, aware of them, and acknowledge them, I feel like you'll be able to have more interaction and more guidance from them. Law of attraction with the spirit, the spirits in general, and that's really how it works. A lot of writers or musicians will sleep with a tape recorder because you get a lot of thoughts when you're sleeping. Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, in this line of work, just imagine the amount of voices that'll be talking um, with that situation going down. Some good questions tonight, guys. I appreciate that. Do you think Arnie Johnson was actually possessed? I do. I think he was actually influenced. And if you watch the video on my main channel, if you watch the whole thing, what happened, what it was saying to us, it's validating what it's saying to us that that was going on as well. Do you think children's imaginary friends are actually spirits? In a lot of cases, Trixie Cat, absolutely. Ever encounter anything or anything regarding reincarnation? Um, I've had some stuff, even myself, with experiences. I have some sort of strange connection to Jim Morrison. I do believe in reincarnation, even though I'm Catholic. Jesus reincarnated himself. Um, Definitely all into that. Messages are always coming to you, but you have to be open to hearing them. Yes, Judy. Just making sure. Um, that whole thing's creepy as hell. What strange experiences have you not have, Amy? Yeah, I know. At this point, um, I'm waiting for a ride on Falcor's back from Neverending Story. At this point, no problem, Alfred. Um, the whole Arnie case is crazy, um, and obviously I got involved with that, and the evil from that case references itself now. A lot of the time when I go to these investigations, if you don't see that, you'll hear it. If you guys know, if you don't know about my blessed metal here, St. Michael It's been blessed by the relic of the true cross Jesus was crucified on, and which Ralph has. Anything it touches considered a third class relic, which I also bless all of the Saint Benedict medals that I have for cases, which I actually put in the four corners of the property and seal the property with them to try. Once you just try to displace the evil energy, you keep it out so it doesn't come back in. What story you want to hear, Nick? Yes, appreciate you guys. If you're coming in here, make sure you give it a thumbs up to the video. I appreciate it. Well, if you the video on my YouTube channel tells kind of a gist of the story. It's like a 20-minute story. I put it all together. I went by the house last summer where David Glatzel had his exorcism. It's also where Arnie antagonized the demon to come inside him, and his car went down the hill, and he saw the demon standing in front of his car when he invited him to come into him instead of the kid. That happened right there. That's the first time I saw a creature arm that had scales on it and three fingers that were curled with three thick curly fingernails. And it started referencing it. It was saying David's name in front of the house, and it just something didn't feel right. We got reference to the case, and then we went to another place in Trumbull, um, that haunted house in Trumbull, and I felt it followed us there that night, and I felt its really dark, powerful evil that was with us, and I could feel its urge that it wanted me to feel this. It wanted me to have this feeling, but it really was its feeling. It wanted me to go up and choke everyone in the room and kill them. And to even like for me to even feel that at any level, just imagine if I did invite it in and say, "Oh, come into me." You see what I'm saying? Like I can pick up the desires and emotions of spirits, and I felt this evil. I felt what it wanted to do, and how it enjoyed wanting to just kill everything in its sight. And just imagine Arnie what he could have been experiencing when he did that, because he literally invited it in. And that video is on my YouTube page. It's the main video on my channel when you turn it on, and you can see I could feel the rage. I talk about it. We're in the house, and it followed me home. That night, I came home and I woke up. I heard this loud growl in my room, just like just whatever you could imagine, just horrible growl. And I saw this big, huge shadow coming down the hallway leading to the bedroom upstairs. And then I saw a tail and hooves, and then heard the growl. And I shot up, and I just like, oh my gosh, like it's from that case. And for weeks after that, I was having weird stuff happen to me. Um, I'll never forget, and some of you guys were there with me. I was at the cemetery in Connecticut by myself. That part of that video is in that video on my YouTube channel if you want to watch it. Um, I literally psychically saw the creature again with the hooves and the tail. I jumped up and I said, "That freaking thing is here with me. The demon from the Conjuring 3, Brookfield, it's here with me. I know it is." And it's a demon. And then I just saw this black ball of energy like this big. And the best way to explain is when you see like a plane, when you see the tail light kind of like bopping, you see it and it moves. It's like it blinks and then it moves. You don't see it the entire time. That's what it did to me in the cemetery with my own eyes when I was by myself while I was live streaming on Periscope, and it just did this boom, 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 and then came straight for me, and then the voice came through and it said, "He's ours," just something right out of a movie, and the voice is on the video. Watch it. It's creepy as hell, and I'm in Connecticut, Amy, and then that night I went home after that creepy thing happened, and out of all the street lights on the street, the one right in front of the house, here, this house, um, was flickering. And then I saw this weird white anomaly fly away across the street afterwards. Like it was, I say that night when I came home from the Trumbull house, even like I got out of the car, I felt something like was watching me. I've never, out of all the places I've been, have I come home and get out of the car and have this really unsettling feeling like there was like I just felt like something wanted to kill me, dude. Um, yeah, I can't wait to watch it too. And obviously, it's tragic. Debbie Johnson, she passed away. She had cancer. I had no idea she had cancer. She's such a nice lady. Well, here's the other part to the story. So I became interested in the Devil Made Me Do It story. So I downloaded the PDF book, and I read half the book. And this is the book this boy put in description, the biggest description of demons that I've ever seen in my life in any book. I mean, Ed Warren and the kids said that there are 43 demons that possess this boy. And this kid would describe these demons in detail. And one of the demons, scales, three fingers, tails, and a hoof. And I'm like, there you go. And I didn't know, man. I didn't know about that, and it creeped me out even further. But I only read half the book. I still have to read the other half. But the stories and stuff that was going on was crazy. But I knew the original story when I was younger. The show A Haunting was there was an episode called Where Demons Dwell, and you can look this up if you have Discovery Plus. Look up the episode. You can look it up online, which episode is, and find it. That is the story of David Glatzel. Is the documentary episode of A Haunting? It's Where Demons Dwell, and I would never forget. It was one of the creepiest episodes. Lorraine Warren's in it, and at one point they did an exorcism, and they're like, "Where did the demon go?" And the kid goes, "The demon went back to the well." And I remember the episode of the documentary that there was a rental property where they lived first, and there was a well there. So I had talked to Debbie Johnson on Facebook, and she had a good idea where the rental house was, and I drove out there. And well, actually, I'll rewind. She had a good idea where the house was, and the night before I went, I had another vision. Now I talk about this vision in the video on my YouTube. If you want to watch it, it's on the main trailer to the whole channel. I had this vision that I was floating up to the well, and there were fall leaves everywhere, orange, yellow leaves everywhere, and I started to look down into the well, and I could see these yellow reptilian eyes looking at me, and I woke up with the chills. I knew at that moment that I was going to see the well. I was going to see it. I knew it, and I drove out there the next day. I was determined, and I found the house, and I saw a guy out there in the driveway, and so I just went right up to him. I went right up to him, and I'm just like, "Hey, you probably know the house that you're living in." And he knew, and he was a really nice guy, and he took me to the backyard and let me check out the well and let me do a spirit box session. I was there for about, 15, 20 minutes or something like that. I live streamed some of it, and that's all in the video. You can watch it. So I don't think anyone has footage of that well, but besides myself, from what I did that day. Um, I mean, that's a whole element. But I kept it private where those people were, and um, you know, it's that was something crazy. But again, this thing would reference itself, the beast, constantly. In my investigations now, it comes through and it talks about it, and then I could pick up on it. I know it's there. I know it's watching, and that's kind of like a big gist of it. I don't think the thing liked me because I prayed for a spirit. I did my usual thing, right in front of the house where David Glassell, and I prayed for a spirit. And I don't know if it was out there, and it was just I don't know if it was a soul in its grasp. I don't know if it pissed something else off. Obviously, it doesn't like prayer. I don't know if that's the real reason why this thing kind of like came after me. I really don't know. That's the only thing I can think of. So that's pretty much the gist of the story. And now you'll hear it coming through the beast, and stuff like that. Um, but that it's a really, this isn't one of those things, you know, uh, where, you go on YouTube and they're like, oh yeah, the demon, you know, it attacked me, came home with me, or some shit like that. Like you can see the documented evidence. I had, it's so funny. I have some people like, comment on the video too, and they're like, "Oh, like this wasn't live." And I was like, "No, it was live." And they're like, "No, just because you premiered it live, it doesn't mean it's live." No, I'm like, actually, no, no. I live streamed it on Periscope. I have hundreds and hundreds of people actually watched it with me. They were there. I talked with them while I was at these locations, and I spliced it together and in a cohesive manner. And I told the story about what happened. So, I mean, that's the good part about live streaming, guys, is that there's witnesses to these experiences. I mean, there was stuff coming through that I just no way I could have faked. Um, but you know, It was real. Yeah, I mean, some of you guys were there throughout all the stuff besides what happens to me when I'm in my bed, like, these creepy dreams. But, that was legit, man. That demon from that case, from that boy, absolutely came home with me, followed me, and still references through the boxes. No question, God is my witness. There is not a doubt in my freaking body and soul that one of those demonic spirits, or maybe a couple of them or a few of them involved in that case, have definitely know who I am, and they came home with me and are around, referencing at different places that I've been after initially going to the house and the well where the boy had said that the beast would come from. Definitely, Nick. Sorry if I missed any questions. Did you send your evidence to the Catholic Church? There's no need for me to do that, Ed, because that would be um, evidence to send to the Catholic Church would be try to to help with the possession. Is that what you're saying? That's just something. I mean, obviously, I just document it myself. Sorry if I missed a question or two. With all the visions you have, how would you rate your psychic abilities? I'm sure there are different levels. It's different all the time, Alfred. Sometimes I don't pick up much at all. I mean, I know I'm multitasking. I'm holding the camera. I'm looking at the chat, or I'm doing so many different things. You guys know sometimes it just hits me, and it's boom. It's like download. It's nuts. It's not always like that. If I don't pick up something, I'm not gonna just say something to say something because I'm genuine, man. I know I have psychic abilities. It's there, and whenever something comes out and I feel something, or if I'm meant to feel something, I'm going to announce it so I can get validation through one of the devices or an experience that one of us are going to have. Thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate that. I'm just coming on because I always say I went into like straight up story time. Um, Absolutely, Chantel. No, the family in Southington, Gretchen, is the haunting in Connecticut. The demon literally came to me in my room. I saw it psychically. Um, Coming down the hallway, and I heard its growl, and it woke me up with the chills at 3 in the morning. What's the name of the title? The Conjuring Demon Followed Me Home. The Conjuring 3 Demon Followed Me Home. It's on my channel. Definitely give it a watch. Tell me what you think. Comment on it. Love your know your thoughts. It's really creepy. I try to tell the story and put some stuff in between the documented evidence behind it. So definitely Purgatory Paranormal. Definitely Brent. Thank you. Straight out of a horror movie. That's right. Um, okay, I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything. Nick, thank you so much. Ghost emojis for Nick. Um, did you do any investigations on the haunting of Emily Rose? No, I forget what state that took place on. Obviously, it's a fascinating, another tragic case. Similar in some nature to the girl who's possessed and pregnant, because look what happened to her. The parents and the priest got charged with negligent homicide, or they're getting, because of she dying and she didn't eat, and they blamed her for that. So, you know, it's kind of similar in nature because no one would want to touch that case of the 10-foot pole because the girl's pregnant. I mean, this girl's carving upside down crosses on her pregnant belly, man. It's really messed up. This isn't your average thing that was going on. Yep, it's a really crazy story. When the documentary comes out, you'll see. It's a story, one of my chapters, big story in my second book. Thank you, Rebecca. I can tell you. Um, I have my phone like right here. So you can actually see this picture. I'll show you. I mean, I'll show you some of the evidence I have on my other phone right here. Um, yes. One of the times I was on the phone with her, I'm thousands of miles away from her, and she's talking in a low tone voice, and I'm trying to pray for her. She's being choked on the phone. I just all I started saying the Archangel Michael prayer, and I felt burning on my arm, and I'm just laying in my room, and this happened to me. 13 slashes on my arm. It looked like a cat had its way with my arm, dude. It was all over my arm. There's no way I could have done that to myself. Hello, Wendy. Um, I don't know. I have to think about that, Alfred. Um, this was another creepy picture. I'm sure you've seen the documentary too. She felt creepy, and someone was watching her in her hallway. And you can see this one. It looks like a witch in her hallway, looking at her. It looks like a witch. Um, these are symbols she showed on her mirror after coming out of a trance and carving an upside down cross on her pregnant belly. I mean, I'm telling you, this stuff is crazy. Um, it's really just insane. Um, you can see this thing with red eyes looking through. This is a picture she took. I mean, there's just so much, man. Some scratch markers she got. Um, she'd wake up from a sleep outside, and there'd be, you see the, she'd be in her yard and digging in the dirt. I could just go on with this stuff. It's really crazy. Um, obviously, I played some of that on that video too. That's on my channel. You can check it out. I made a 20-minute video. It's not all the stuff, all the evidence that I have. Obviously, some of it I'll have to block out the face and the kid. It's a really harrowing story. It's really really messed up. Yeah, it could bring you to tears what this poor girl has gone through. Um, she here's a picture of the demon that she said she saw, which I saw in a vision too. This is the picture drawing that she drew. It's pretty descriptive for someone to just make up in their head. That's pretty terrifying. Look at all the little intricate parts. Now I saw something like this with similar horns. You got handprints on her, fingerprints on her arm. I mean, dude, it goes on and it goes on and it goes on. I'm telling you, it's this documentary is going to be something else. Um, I don't know, Brent, if you're talking about um, Annalise. What do you think are good intentions you send out worth it for those you believe that needs? I mean, it's always good to have good positive thoughts and pray for people that are going through. Obviously, it can't hurt, but depending on what they're dealing with, obviously, can be very complicated and very deep and delicate in many different diversified ways. So I'll tell you, um, this girl was abused as a little girl, in terrible ways. And she was bullied in high school, and her aunt was heavily into witchcraft and told her that you can get revenge against them and be empowered and have all this stuff. And she did a full pentagram black candle and put her blood on the candle and invited it And um, yeah, she cut herself. But that was really the doorway that started it. Now she never says that um, she's responsible for a couple of the bullies after she did the magic um, died in a car crash, and she's like, I'm not saying it's responsible, but it's kind of ironic that that happened afterwards. What'd you say, Nick? I missed that. Um, I'm telling you, it's the hallmarks of a movie. It's absolutely horrifying. Yeah, I'm telling you. One of the times I'm on the phone, her friend calls me, and I hear pelting on the car in the metal pelting, and the girls are screaming. It's her friend has her phone while she's driving, and they're explaining to me that there's black birds hitting the car while they're driving. A bunch of them. First it was like one or two, and then it was like a lot. Um, there's a symbol that showed up on her pregnant belly that I had an occult specialist says it has something to do with infertility. Um, it goes on and on and on. I was, I was emotionally invested to try to help this girl, and it went on for quite some time. Um, I was well over my head, Brent, at the time, but I didn't want to leave the girl alone. She latched on to me, had no one else to turn to, and I did everything I could to help her. Is it true that there's no hiding what you can do to protect yourself as to empower an evil entity to mess with you if they think they can withstand your protections? Um, I mean, to doubt in your protection at any level is undermining your faith, which undermines your protection, which will negate your protection. It knows that it'll use that against you. So, if you fear is literally negates. If you fear evil spirits, you're negating your faith in God, because if you truly believe in the notion that God is the most powerful spiritual energy that ever was and always will be, those things will not be able to do to you what it wants to do to you idealistically. And these things want to break that down and put doubt in you, within you, around you. So you are susceptible to their games, their tricks, and their malevolent, purposes. I was expressing my frustration about women getting tortured, which just pisses me off more than usual. Yeah, Nick, and that's the story of Maleficent with the girls, these women that I believe that were tortured, sadistically killed, and worse, um, and the Ohio story. And I believe I freed them from demonic force and this man, and they wanted to seek revenge because of it. I followed this person on Twitter, and he had a beef with someone who cast a voodoo spell on him. A few weeks later, he died of a stomach disease. That's freaky stuff. I personally don't like to acknowledge evil to even try to give it credit, because it might not deserve the credit if it's able to kill people. I do believe curses are real. I think spells do are real, but they will always backfire. They can affect other people, but it'll always go back on the participant that put the intent towards somebody. Yes, they will always look a crack in your aura. Um, they know your worst times in your life. They have it blacked out on a calendar. It's something I always said in the beginning. Uh, again, they have no conception of time. They can tap into the future, even though there's free will. They haven't have a good idea of what may happen, and they'll use that against you. Some good questions tonight. Thank you, guys. Approximately how long did this go on, Sean, start to finish? With the girl, It went on for like a year, I think. The whole thing. It was like it was like the beginning. It was she was a couple of months or a month pregnant or something like that, and then it went to the full pregnancy, and then the months of the baby being alive until tragedy occurred after that. It was quite some time. Thoughts on places that fake haunting or activity for publicity or entertainment as real, such as the Moss Beach Distillery in California. Do you think this hurts real? Rhonda, it always upsets me to see people that fake evidence that gives people like myself a bad name because it taints everyone. There's a lot of people out there that all of a sudden think they're an investigator or they just do it for the wrong reasons. They do it solely for attention. I care about what I do. I want to bring spiritual awareness to people by showing people how I do things and what I do. But when you mix the entertainment field with spirituality, you're going to get a lot of ignorant asshats that get involved for the reason of attention, and that's what they'll do to make themselves famous. Um, and yes, I think it gives a bad name for sure. The baby had complications and ended up passing away. It's very tragic. It's very it's just crazy. And hello, Karen. No, the girl's still alive, and she's interviewed in the documentary, and so is her son. Yes, Judy, 100%. Like an investigator consulting a psychic before a case, then passing it off as their own. Yep, 100%. That shit appalls me. Has God or an angel ever send you a feeling during a tough case that made you feel eased because you knew they were there? I've, angels have come to me. I've had visions about them. I've been guided in ways and stuff like that, little nuances here and there. She's remarried now, Ed, but the father's still in the picture. Gets, the son on and off. Well, glad you have it here, Karen. Obviously, I've been taking so many crazy trips lately. Um, I haven't been able to do these as much, but you know, this is a good week to do it because Sean's taking a sabbatical from ghosts this week. Um, it's just gym, friends, drinks, and beach this week. I agree with you. Um, I don't know how to pronounce your Amelia, if I'm saying that correctly. I agree with you 100% about that. Yeah, I think it's important to um, your background is my childhood's walls. You're my base right now, Nick. I agree with you 100% with that. I always try to show respect to spirits, and I believe that um, the reciproc, the reciprocal evidence is you know prevalent. After you show this respect, they'll gravitate towards you. They'll be willing to show you more evidence and manifest if you have a mutual respect for them. And you can't just say it out loud. They know your intention behind your mind. They know exactly what your true intentions is when you go to a place. And so don't think that they don't know. Talk about telling the difference between a true child spirit versus a negative entity pretending to be a child. Well, I think it's important to be objective about whatever information or whatever words are coming through, um, through a box or any sort of ITC device. I think it's really important to be very objective. Do not assume. It could know that demonic entities can mimic my voice, your voice, any voice, especially a child, and children are the most innocent creatures of us all, and that's why they would do such a thing. So, something that I would say is like, hey, if it's a child there, like, hey, can I pray for you? Do you want prayer? That's why I always say too. Sometimes I get a little inkling. There might be a little feeling. Would you like prayer? Say the word pray. If they say pray, then you know that no demonic spirit would ever want you to pray for any reason. So there's ways but you got to be objective, because there's things that are going to try to trick you and get acknowledgement from you, um, for many different reasons. So be careful of that. I think that's just old footage from the Demon House, man. I think. Thank you, Susan. I appreciate it. Yeah, and like I said, when you see the documentary about this girl, it's just oof, just really draining. And I'm gonna have to go back there. Um, if you know The Exorcist, Brian and Sister Mary from Ghost Adventures, we are planning to go down together and to go help her at some point, um, in the summer. I literally rested the last few nights. I slept like a baby. I went to the gym. I've been feeling just total chi renewal. How do demons get in the world from hell? Um, well, when we invite them in, when we actually invite them, they're looking for doorways to come into our world. It's kind of like the Bible with Adam and Eve. I mean, when they took the bite out of the apple, it's they're looking for invitation. Um, they're looking for ways for us to allow them to come in, to influence us, to manipulate us, and ultimately make an example out of us by ultimately making us hurt ourselves or hurt others that we care about, and say, looking up to God, that God shouldn't have created man. It's the whole reason why they fought God over the creation of us, physical beings, being a human being, our souls energizing these physical bodies without any higher knowledge of what the fallen angels and the devil, um, they didn't want to give up, and they didn't want to worship a creature that doesn't have any higher knowledge. This is how we learn without having all the knowledge and having free will and the opportunity to make the right choice or the wrong choice and affect people negatively and positively with our actions and choices. That is the core element and why I believe God created us. So our souls can progress. It's like sending your children out there and their training wheels. Training wheels are basically the human bodies and our human lives and what we have to cope with, how we endure obstacles in life. Life is not about being perfect, it's about learning through struggle. It sucks to hear, but that's just the truth of the matter. And we all have our moments and we don't want to hear it, even myself. And it is what it is. You got to fight, and God would never put you through anything that you couldn't handle or overcome. And it's all about taking something dark or that's hard for you, and turning it into something light and sharing that light with the rest of the world, with anyone that you can encounter, or even further that, make ripples in time and make it timeless. And that's be an example of what God stands for: unconditional love and forgiveness. Um, how to raise your vibration: working out, natural endorphins. It makes me feel really good. um, it puts me in a good mood. I feel like I'm balanced. I feel like I'm focused. Indulging in food and drinks all the time, these are all things that will lower your vibration. Being healthy, having a good mindset, and being busy, and smart busy, not a busy idiot. Smart busy with yourself, make goals for yourself, just hustle, persevere, and just try to make a difference in your life. Whatever you feel called to do, whatever that talent is within you, or whatever you're good at, or just be a representation of light and goodness, and with everyone that you have in your life and around you. Oh, Amelia, okay. Um, I think I always have spirits around me, Amelia. Um, I don't believe I have an attachment. I think that there was something that was uh, maybe attached to me from the Mason house, and you'll hear more about that in the documentary. It's also the story I wrote about in my first book, Shadow Chaser. And by the way, anyone that's interested, if you don't have a copy of my book or my second book, I sell copies, signed copies of my book from my website anywhere in the US, SeanDAustin.com, SEAN, D as in David, AUSTIN. I mail out signed copies of my books and my music. I have two EPs. And after this week, I am definitely going to get some shirts up there. I have to reevaluate and reassess my Patreon. I'm going to add some stuff to the website. Ultimately, I'm going to have DVDs that'll be signed that I'll sell of Malefice from the website as well. Um, I have seen Aura before at Ed sometimes. It's kind of like once in a while. It's not something that's always the case. A person's vibration, yeah, I mean, of course, connected to your aura. The color of your aura is basically a representation of your emotional status. So that's what that color would be backing up. That's why the balls of light, or you want to say orbs or spirit energy. When I see them in their different colors, I'm like, okay, if it's like a dark color or red, that could be angry or evil. If it's blue, that could be angelic, protective, and things like that. And I think that coincides with some of the aura colors that we may have around us. Everything has energy around it. Um, so what's going on, Randy? And again, thank you guys. Even Eric and myself, thank you guys for helping us do these trips and supporting us. I'm glad you guys enjoy this stuff and you see what we do and all this crazy stuff that goes on. And that's why it's good to do these Q&As, just to give you a little fill-ins. If you're new to me or the channel, and what goes on, and it's just there's amazing magic that goes on there. There's a lot of darkness, but remember that there is light, and light will always conquer darkness in the end. It may not seem that way in this planet while we live here, but that's what makes the light special. When you appreciate that light wherever you do find it in your life. How did I hook up with Eric? So actually, Aunt Deb, she told me about the gateway and got me a gateway from Eric, and that's how that started that social rapport with the mad scientist himself. And then I guess last summer I invited him to Waverly Hills, and then we started thinking about trips we could go to, and that's really how it began. Yes, Eric's great, good people, genuine. He's passionate, and it's hard to find people like that in this field. I mean, Ed, I mean, you take risks doing stuff. I mean, you got to be prepared for the worst case scenario. That's why I read books to make myself versed and knowledgeable about the worst case scenarios in case it does happen. I mean, you could just go out tomorrow night to a cemetery with a recorder, and then things can follow you home. Things can go on. So, I mean, there's no guarantee of anything. Um, oh, thank you, Trixie Cat. Likewise, I'm glad Eric is around too. So, you know, um, is you can do simple things, but my faith is what has guided me to this point and how it's protected me. Obviously, I've had my blips along the way, and I think everyone does, but that's how we learn. Um, but always got to be careful and take every precaution necessary. But learning, and that's why I think reading books can help along the way. Do you think someone with only basic knowledge of supernatural will be able to comprehend your books? Yeah, Nick, definitely. I think so. I think my books are pretty straightforward. D, the documentary should be released in the coming 2, 3 weeks, I think. A poster's being made right now for the documentary. Have a good night, Alfred. Sounds good. I think any bright color at all is a good color, Marlene. I think we can only speculate what they represent, but yeah, I'm excited for you guys to see the documentary. I saw it. I saw the whole thing, and I added some stuff to it, and I'm telling you, and it leaves you with the chills with the last piece, man. That happens, and even the director, Billy, he's a skeptic, and he experienced you know something really creepy too, just like it happened in my room. and he has no explanation for it. It's terrifying. But all of this did going back there. Number one, it validated what happened when the first time I went there with Dave, um, and it validated what I experienced and why it was really pissed off at me in the first place, and how things changed going there and performing the exorcism ritual in the house. Yeah, Trixie Cat, definitely. I can't wait for everyone to see it, and I can't wait to see hear the feedback from all you guys because I just it gave me chills. Yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of stuff that didn't make it in the documentary too. Just a lot. We have so much evidence, and physical evidence too. I mean, it's creepy. Yeah, it's something else, and it's an hour and a half long. It's just like the length of a movie. Um, it's a journey. It tells the whole story, and like I said, I think this story is very unique in itself too. Is that we didn't return. It didn't return for the sake of trying to help people or just to find answers. It's like I had to return back because souls I believe I crossed over were taken away from the devil and they're trying to take revenge against me. And I had to return back to the original place, the location, to try to end it. I've never seen a story done like that before because of that. It's just I've never seen a story made about that. I don't know if any of you guys have, but I haven't. It's literally all based on the stakes from the spiritual realm, the things that went on there, and just like I don't know, just it's something else. Hello, Dazzler. I mean, if you watch the trailer, it's usually like you watch the trailer and like the movie's not as good as the trailer. I'm gonna tell you right now, like the whole thing as a whole blows the trailer away. Um, it's and like I said, it's just it moves you. It shows the validation of God. It shows you there's evil, and it's moving. It's scary. It's horrifying. It just it tells the whole story. It's and it's put very cohesively together by Billy because he's a story teller. But yeah, yep, it's coming soon, guys. And again, if you're not aware, we will be doing a screening of it in Connecticut, July 24th and 25th. Um, and you can watch it with us, and there'll be a Q&A regarding it. Ed, it's another video you should watch on my channel. The evil from Annabelle followed me home too. Lucky me. Yeah, Judy. Yeah, he's got plenty of quotes. Um, yes, I've met Annabelle 4 times. No, we believe you too, Amelia. It's, I mean, look at me. You don't need to be saying that. I mean, look at me. Look at the life I live with all this stuff going on all the time. Yeah, anyone's interested, I think it's a 2-day event, and if you're in the area, if you want to make it, yeah, come out. It'll be something else. I think it's really cool we get to screen Malefist. Yeah, Judy. Yep, it came home with me, and I got video of that, proof of that too, and even Dan from Nesper too. What happened? That's on my YouTube channel too. If you type in Annabelle followed me home on this channel right here, it's right there. You can watch. It's 5 minutes long. Yes, it's Raggedy Ann doll. Thank you, Amelia. Well, that sounds good. Hmm. I may have a treat for you guys. I have a couple of old EVPs I can play with you while I'm here too. Some of my old EVPs. So, there was one time, my old apartment, my dad um, was there, and he was watching Andy Griffith. Do you guys know Andy Griffith? You know the whistling, um, you know the whistling of the theme song. So one day, my dad was watching that, and later on, I was by myself, and I recorded an EVP, and you hear the whistling of that song. One of the most unique EVPs I've ever captured. Unbelievable. I have a real old one now. I tell you guys about the little girl spirit. It was the first EVP I ever got was this little girl, and I saw the shadow of the little girl, at the corner of my bed, and this little girl would follow me. She followed me for a while, and here is a clear ass EVP of the little girl saying, "I have a crush on Sean." I haven't played this in a while actually, and you hear it.
Is there anybody here that would like to say something?
That was my sister in my bedroom at the time, the old apartment, and you can hear the little girl say, "I have a crush on Sean." That's insane. That's a little girl literally saying that. You guys hear that? Never a dull moment, man. Oh yeah, she heard it. I don't get nervous of that, Ed. No. Um. Yep. Nuts. Well, we recorded and then listened back. Not maybe a little something. Not really though. Let me see if I can find another one of my old ones here. You can hear someone screaming my name, Sean Austin. Here. This is my old apartment. It's Sean Austin. It's a woman screaming, "It's Sean Austin." Ridiculous. This one's creepy. Yeah, she's a believer, Amber. Tuckahoe. That was in Tuckahoe. Um, you hear this voice of Sean goes, "Sean, they are evil."
Why is it?
Sean, they this stuff. Crazy. This is Letchworth, and you hear a man say, "I'm guilty." So clear. I'm guilty. And these are all Haytel EVPs, guys. My old boss, when he killed himself tragically, that story's in my first book. The night he was buried there, my friend and I went to his grave, and I asked him to say something in front of his grave, and he goes, "Hi, Sean."
Fredo, we're here at your grave. Do you want to say something?
Hi, Sean. Yeah, I know. These are like old EVPs that I have. Dude, that place is probably so haunted, Jess. I heard after we left, the lady who bought it was getting scratched and stuff. But I heard she was a really mean lady. She wasn't nice to us when we were trying to leave there. So too bad, I guess.
Is that you, Scott, that I hear? You're just trying to do something to me?
Yeah, speaking of Trixie Cat, this is when I was oppressed after Bobby Mackey's years ago. And I was in the cemetery by myself, and I was smelling rotting flesh by myself. It's a really enjoyable night, must tell you. And I could feel this evil around me, and you hear "Hail Satan," and it goes "Hail Beelzebub," all in a row. Watch it.
Something to me?
Right there.
You're just trying to do something to me?
That's lovely, isn't it? Hail to that demon and hail to that demon. Yep. This is an EVP for my story, for my first story, where the father killed the wife, and the daughter killed herself. It's in my first book, and you can hear this. You can even hear the breath, like she breathed in and just blood curdling scream. Yep, that's creepy. Yeah, these were old EVPs that I just randomly had. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I hear you. Is that what this is?
That wasn't your grave, that was knocked
Oh, this one's so creepy. This little girl's grave was knocked over. I'm like, was this your grave that was knocked over? And you hear the little girl go, "My grave." I'm just literally looking at these old files. I haven't looked at them in so long. Listen.
That wasn't your grave that was knocked over, was it?
My grave. It's creepy. Horrible, right?
How many spirit?
This is from Letchworth, and It's actually pretty funny. Zach Bagans caught the exact same EVP when he was in Letchworth. If you watch the episode when he was at Letchworth, you actually hear "Pray Your God," and that's literally what I got. The same thing. You hear the guy go, "Pray Your God." Isn't that funny? I remember that. Yeah, I'm just giving you guys a little extra creep stuff here. Which one of my dog? Which one? I can't do that. It's got to be a priest, Vicky. Yeah, Brent. Yeah, I've heard people say that too. The one that died. Which one? You know, dog's been. It came through my old dog's name at the Portal Cemetery months ago, saying Bandit. Barks was coming through. Um, yeah, I mean, I've had stuff with my dogs come up, but there was. I didn't keep like all the EVPs I had. You know, the story, because I mean, old phones and stuff. I wasn't being organized when I was starting out. There was other ones that I had. What's going on, Andrew? Seamus is with my dad. Yep. Um, this was a time actually. Me and Greg were at the cemetery. I had my first experience ever. We were in a soldiers area, and I asked, "Did you die for your country?"
Die for your country?
And then you hear a guy say, "That's a different soldier."
This is a different soldier. This is a different soldier. This is a different soldier.
He's a different soldier. What you hear? We were in the soldier area of the cemetery. These are the type of EVPs that I was getting right at the beginning, and you wonder why that I got so drawn into it. I mean, I literally, you know, these are the EVPs that were just ridiculous. I mean, these were the handful, some of them, that just blew me away. And I'm like, that's it. I just want to go out and experience more. This is so wild. And I was just going out there we were just with our recorders on our phone, and then I got a spirit box and things like that. Well, I worked on the only thing I ever, yeah, it's happened to me a couple of times, Trixie Cat. Um, there was one case of I forget her name, Molly Tibbetts. Something happened to me. There was the first time ever. She came to me and was pointing to me where her body was, and I went on Scope and talked about it, and I was on point to a bunch of things. That was the first time that ever happened to me. Then the whole Jennifer Doulos thing happened, but you know, nothing. You know, still never was found with it, unfortunately. Um, but you know, whatever I can do to use my abilities to help people or help find missing people, I would love to have my hands in it. If something comes to me, obviously I would say it. Um, yeah, true, Brent. Sadamsville Rectory was insane years ago, Andrew. Um, I wrote about that in my first book. That was another instance of when something evil was pissed off. I allegedly crossed over 3 boys that were in there, and for weeks after, it was threatening to slit my throat. It was not a good scene from that place. Yes, it's been happening to me a lot, Dazzler, the remote viewing thing. This is a classic EVP right here. The first time around the time I had my first St. Michael pendant, and I think it was the night that my friend Greg got these nasty scratches on him in the Portal Cemetery, and I think something wanted to scratch me. And I was asking, like, why can't you scratch me? And you hear this crazy long EVP, and it goes, St. Michael's watching him. It's his effing pendant. And I'll play this a couple times and see if you guys, hear it, because it's what I heard years ago when this was happening. It's just nuts. So it's going, St. Michael's watching him. It's his effing pendant. I'll play it one more time. One of the craziest EVPs. I forgot about that one. And you wonder why my faith is so strong. When something evil is getting pissed off that it can't do to you what it wants to do to you, and he's referencing St. Michael's watching him, and he's saying that effing pendant. Yeah, that's why it's right here. You know. And that was in Eastchester Cemetery. Um, just a heads up. Cartoon Network after this. 100%. How many times did they bring a pendant on the investigations? So many times. They brought it up on Ghost Loop when we were filming, but they didn't put that in there. They had other stuff they wanted to put in there, just to pile up. But that's a whole nother story. Yes, Gretchen, definitely excited for you to read it, and I hope that you enjoy it. Comedy Central. Star Truck stop in Brooklyn, Iowa. There's only 2 stroke of the pilot in that one. Huh. Oh. Um, but yeah, it's like I said, it's examples like that when you get evidence that your faith is protecting you, and that's why I hold it so dearly to my heart and soul going into any place that I go. It's not something I take it take for granted. Yeah. Yeah, Judy. I'll never forget. Actually, I could tell you 2 stories. I've told this some of them before. Um, One time, my old job, these ladies, they sat across from me in our little cubicles, and they knew what I did and stuff. Um, and one day, I just did not want to be at work. I didn't want to be at work, and I was just saying to them, these ladies sat right across from me. I'm like, I'm just gonna tell the ghost. I'm like, turn off the power. I'm just like, I don't feel like working today. I shit you not. 10 seconds later, the entire building shut off. The lights went off, all of it. And the 3 girls turned around to me, Sean, what the hell? What are you doing? What is going on right now? They were flipping scared out of their wit, and I was like, oh my god. And the power was out for like 5 or 10 minutes, and that was just something so ridiculous. I'll never forget that. That was really funny. Um, Another time, um, I came back from investigating one of those asylums. I think it was St. Albans, actually, one of those mental asylums and stuff. And the basement of the uh, the lunchroom that we ate in, there were mentally challenged people that would come in there. They would be helping mentally challenged people, and they would come in there, and they'd be shaking and moaning and stuff like that. And I was exhausted, I was mentally exhausted from one of my crazy ghost trips. The paranormal drain was in effect, and so I'm sitting there with like 6 or 7 of my friends and coworkers, and I don't know if I don't know if I randomly thought about it or if it was put into my head, but I was eating my sandwich and like I literally thought I'm like, what if like a spirit could actually say to one of these, special people that are mentally challenged, like my name and start saying it out loud. Um, Wendy, I'll t- thank you, appreciate that, Wendy. I'll answer that in a second. Um, so then all of a sudden, like 30 seconds later, this guy that came in was just going like, sit on my lap, sit on my lap, saying this over and over again, sitting on a chair. He's got a chaperone with him, probably like 20 something years old. The voice changes, and then literally I just start to hear in the background, like 30, 20, 30 feet away. I don't know. It was pretty far away. All of a sudden, Sean, 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 over and over again. My coworkers look back at this person at the table and they're looking at me like, dude, what's going on? And he's looking at me, saying it over and over and over again. And like the chaperone's like, stop, stop, you gotta stop that. But he's like, but that's Sean over there, pointing to me. And they literally the chaperone had to escort out this mentally challenged person, a guy, poor guy in his 20s or something like that, out of the cafeteria as he continuously recited, Sean, Sean, Sean. And like my coworkers they were like, we can't be friends. I like literally after for like the next week or two, like they literally were, yeah. Um, that's just another one of those crazy. I've had so many crazy stories, but some of those that stick out. Sean, have you ever heard and seen so much? It's overwhelming. How do you cope with everything? Thank you for your hard work and believer. I just push. It's my passion. I feel like I'm doing what I'm meant to do, and I just keep, persevering. Um, thanks, D. That was a long time ago. I know it was like 4 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. But yeah, I mean, there's weird stuff that happens around me. I mean, there's never a dull moment, you know. I mean, it's just like Ralph. I mean, he told me stories. One time his daughter is just in the house and coming back from these crazy cases, and like a picture frame picked up and flew across the room, and his daughter was terrified. I mean, these things come home with you. It don't matter. It's things happen. Things happen. Um, it's not like always. It's not constant. It's not crazy, but it's there. I mean, it'll happen sometimes. It's the lifestyle you got to be ready for. And I got enough ghost stories for probably 2 lifetimes. I mean, think about like ghost stories. I think about like when I was a kid, like I just did love to hear one ghost story from some person. Like never in a million years that I ever think that I would literally be like just bombarded. Like I literally have so many ghost stories. I don't even know where I could begin with. I've obviously there's certain ones that like stick out of my mind and things like that, but it's so crazy. Never would I have thought any of this would have happened. So crazy. I remember this nasty growl. I was at Prospect Place in Ohio. I remember that place. That was a really messed up place too. And I got growled at. You hear that nasty growl? Ooh, that doesn't sound nice. Doesn't sound nice at all. What is this one? Ghost emojis for Joseph. Thank you so much, Trixie and Joe. Thank you so much. Ghost emojis for Trixie and Joe. Very nice of you. Um, What is this one?
Is anybody around? Say something. What's my name? What's my name? Be around. Say something. What's my name?
You know, this is like one of those weird things. I was asking what my name was, and some little girl saying it's Jim Morrison. See if you can hear that.
What's my name? What's something?
Going, it's Jim Morrison. That was when I was first starting to have the weird things with the doors and the Jim Morrison thing, because that was the beginning of my mediumship. My first experience knowing that I was a medium or having this ability was having to do with Jim Morrison. Um, and they would be calling me Jim Morrison on and off while I was investigating. That's what they're saying, D. That's the clues that I've had. I've had a lot of crazy, weird circumstances with. I've had dreams that I was Jim Morrison. I've had dreams that I've seen the band members coming out of a club in the '70s. I've had a dream in a black bathtub with an orange redhead girl across from me. Um, I've had dreams of just seeing Jim Morrison's face. I've had dreams of being on stage. Um, and when this was happening to me, I just thought about things I'd be connected to. And my first time ever that I was in California, um, my old best friend moved out to California. I'll never forget this. And it was like, it's one of those things that I was just like, I don't understand, but it was way before I was into the paranormal, maybe like 5 years. I was in California, and the first town he took me to in California, I was walking around, and I'm sure if I brought it up to him now, he'd remember. And I was like, I walked around with him. I'm like, dude, I don't know what it is. I just feel like this is my home. And I said it to him, oh, like constantly, constantly. And when I got on the plane to leave California the first time ever, I had like knots in my stomach. I didn't want to leave. I was like nauseated. And I told my friend, I told on this entire trip, it's just like I just didn't want to leave California. And that first city, town that he took me to in California was Venice, where Jim Morrison lived. I don't know what to think about it. Is it weird? Yep. Did it make me think about it when it started popping up to me? Yep. I don't know what to think about it. I've been doing this for about 12 years now. Yeah, wacky witch. I know. I've always wanted to go back to California. Yes, I met Axl Rose on the street on my first trip to California. I will never forget that. I shook his hand. Anytime, Trixie. Thank you so much. With you guys, you and Joe too. Yeah. Oh, Letchworth. Yeah, that place is messed up, man. Yeah, I've had a lot of crazy Jim Morrison connections. A lot of them. Um, my first mediumship experience, I kept on hearing Lizard King in my head over and over again. I'll just give you some examples to give you some story time, guys. I'm not saying I'm Jim Morrison reincarnated, but do I believe in reincarnation? Yes. Is it a feasible, possible thing? Absolutely. Um, but it just makes me wonder about it. So the first time I ever had a medium, real true medium experience, it kept on being said in my head over and over again, Lizard King, Lizard King. And it was July 2nd. It was like a weekend. And I just wanted to like I just finished reading books about demonology, and so I looked up on Google in my room in my old apartment, and I wanted to like look up about Jim Morrison because I knew the Lizard King reference. I knew it. So I'm like, what the hell? Why am I hearing this? And the next day, July 3rd, is the death anniversary for Jim Morrison. When I read the Wikipedia for Jim Morrison, before he met the band, he was obsessed and read books on demonology, which I was like, wow, that's kind of weird. Where's this taking me? And then he made his last will and testament on the day before my birthday, February 12th, which I thought that was a little close, too close for comfort. I don't know. It's kind of weird. And then like, then I'm reading the bottom path of the Wikipedia, and like Eddie Vedder inducted the Doors into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and sat in for Jim Morrison. Eddie Vedder, Pearl Jam is the reason why I became a musician and singer. Was seeing the Jeremy video as a kid. It gave me chills the first time for rock song. So I'm like, this is like all kind of weird. And then like after that is when I started to have these spirits literally call me Jim Morrison, for quite some time, like on and off. Like I would say, what's my name? And I'd literally hear them say Jim. And then I would have dreams and stuff like that. Now, fast forward a couple years, um, the whole thing with Ralph. Um, when I met Ralph, I brought him on my podcast to meet him. Um, I added him on Facebook. He came on my podcast, and he asked me to come on some cases, and we went to go film the Demon Files. And it was before, the movie came out, and now his movie, Delivers from Evil, came out on July 2nd, the same day that I had this Jim Morrison thing. And all throughout Delivers from Evil, they played the Doors songs. And throughout the movie, you'd see Eric Bana actually see this message say, "People are strange," and that's one of the Doors songs. And I'll never forget when I filmed the Demon Files with Ralph. We were in this big warehouse in the Demon Files, and people were doing their interviews. And there's this one moment where Ralph and I were just together ourselves. We were wandering around the building, looking at things, and I'll never forget looking over to the right, and this one wall with this big wooden plank, and it was written on there, and it said, "People are strange." And I'm just like thinking to myself, like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, obviously, for Ralph to be there and looking at that, that's weird. But then I'm thinking to me, myself, too. I'm like, what the hell? Um, and I just had lots of crazy, weird door stuff happen. Um, One time, my sister was bartending. I think it was like 3 years ago, something like that. Some guy came in and handed her something and said, "I think you're meant to have this." And it was a pin. Who even has pins anymore and puts them on themselves? It was a pin of Jim Morrison, and she's like, "I feel like you're supposed to have this." Um, I just had so many things. Another one, um, I was really messed up when I was 19 years old. This is something I thought about. See, when I have spiritual experiences, I start wondering about things. I start to grab on things from my past and try to connect it to, like, is there any other clues that would, pop out of my mind? And I'll never forget. I played at my sister's college. It was Scranton College. There were like 40 kegs outside, and I had my band there, and I was really messed up, messed up on whatever you could think of. And I was singing in front of hundreds of people, and I just remember like people were coming up to me, and they were like, "Dude, it was really eerie watching you play that night, because you literally look like Jim Morrison up there." It was really eerie. I had like a bunch of people tell me that, and it was just like one of those things that, like, I don't know. It's just one of those things that make you think. I don't know. I did a bunch of things with the whole Doors thing, man. I swear. But I'm not saying anything or whatever, but it would make you wonder too. I'm like, what is the connection? What is it? Is it possible? Sure. Hey man. Hey, I I tried to pursue music, and unfortunately I've been screwed over and taken advantage of left and right. And out of the middle of nowhere in my life, I got hooked into the paranormal, and yeah, I definitely am breaking through to the other side in this life. I don't know. I don't freaking know. Who the hell knows? I don't know. I don't know, and I won't know until my last breath. I don't know. So yeah, so there's some of my weird door stuff. Um, yeah, I don't know. So there's some random weird stuff regarding that. Um, but no, I wouldn't want to be reincarnated Ted Bundy. No, that wouldn't be a good thing. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's possible, Amelia. You can pick up on those sorts of things. How do you highlight a person's name? What, on here? I don't know. I don't know if you can do that. Wouldn't it be cool to have that? Yeah. Y- Oh, that's trippy. You know what's even funny? I actually performed and sang at the Whiskey A Go Go, which is one of the places where the Doors played all the time, and I performed there too. Go figure. I don't know. It should make me start thinking about that. But you know, it's like I'll forget about it, the whole Jim Morrison thing, and then something will happen after a while. It'll go quiet, dormant, and then something will happen again. Well, Jim was tortured because he was on drugs. But it's just one of those things I wonder about. I don't know. I don't know why it happened to me. I don't know what's drawn to me. I don't know why it's there. There's some connection there. I don't know what it is. It could be any of the above, I guess. Oh yeah, I mean, you should see some of the videos you can even watch on YouTube regarding reincarnation. It's undeniable, crazy stuff. Yep, part of the 27 Club. That's right. I think his dad was like an army sergeant or naval guy or something. I don't think Jim wanted to be in the army at all, and I think the dad was kind of strict. I think he had strict parents or something like that. Yeah, of course, '90s rock is my favorite, considering Pearl Jam is my favorite. And I went by Kurt Cobain's house and did a spirit box session, and I even did one at Jim Morrison's grave. No, not Jim Morrison's grave. I'm sorry, Jimi Hendrix, which is in Seattle. So I went to both of their graves. Yeah, the crow that showed up behind Brandon Lee's grave was insane. I mean, you get a vibe that someone's, an old soul. Sure. You just gotta pay attention to your natural intuition. But I've already had like a lifetime of paranormal experiences. It's nuts. Only in like 11 to 12 years, just about 12 years. It's crazy. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. And I don't think I'm done yet. I mean, look at someone like Zaphis is like 70 years old. Ralph is like 58 or something like that. I still got a ways to go. Whatever I'm meant to be a part of and all this craziness. Still have work to do. I do feel that. Are you coming to Pennsylvania anytime? I'm doing the Gettysburg conference at the end of July. I think it's the last weekend of July. Sean, did you get a chance to watch those clips I sent you? Oh, I will get in the message because I've been so caught up. I did look at it really quick. That's crazy, Brent. Sorry, I just missed all these messages. Sean, I have nightmares every single night, and when I wake up, I feel like I never slept. What do you think is wrong? Are your nightmares reoccurring? Are they similar in nature? I did not feel nauseous in Zach's museum, but I did have um, creepy thing before I went. Something about Kevorkian. Um, Something warned me about the dark energy there. Um, and then after I went, the next night I was in California, which was January 2020, I think. Was it? Yeah, it was January 2020. It was right before the whole shit show began. That I went to his museum, and I'll never forget. I had this twisted freaking vision of this shadow that just went full up right in front of me and put its face right in front of me, and like it just growled. It growled and just like starts laughing, and just goes, and then growls again, and then scurries away. Like it was just like some demonic thing showing me, like, yeah, this is what it wants everyone to do, like in some sadistic, sick thing, like a circus sideshow, watching humans suffer. Gettysburg is amazing. That's strange, Jason. Is there any reason why you think that would happen? I mean, if you're having similar dreams over and over again, it's the same thing. It's something to take notice of. I don't know why that something would be invited into, to be able to do that. Is there something that did you go someplace? Did you do something? Is there something in your house? I mean, I would recommend, saying the Archangel Michael prayer before bed, see if it helps. Thank you, Wendy. Really appreciate that. Oh, thank you so much. Tell them I'm glad they like my music. And I just wrote a new song. I'll be posting it. Just an acoustic demo of it. Maybe tomorrow. I just finished. I felt like I came back from my trip, and I wanted to at least create something. Just wanted to feel like I could write something, like not be involved with ghosts or anything like that. So I just wrote a new song. I'll probably post it, a little acoustic demo of it, maybe tomorrow. Oh, Brenda, well, it's right here on my YouTube channel. Oh, that's good to hear, D. Have a good night, Karen. The old stuff? Gosh, I don't know. Well, that's good, D. I would love to do another CD, Sarah. It's very pricey. Very pricey. Each EP cost about, like, to do 4 songs, to do all the packaging and go down to Nashville and stuff. You're talking like 7 grand. um, I still have a lot of CDs I gotta get rid of before I could, do that. I would love to record more. Trust me, I'd be doing it all the time if I could. I could write songs so easily and just pop it out. Um, you know, um, that's why I just do acoustic demos, and, like, when the time is right, I'll pick the right songs and hopefully get back down to Nashville at some point again. How we doing, Patness? Well, you gotta spend money, to do it the right way. It's expensive, but it's worth it. It sounds great, and I love going out to Nashville and working with pro musicians, decorating my art. It's a great feeling. Yeah. Oh, well, thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I just would love to. I still have a bunch of CDs I gotta get rid of that I could sell. I mean, I was planning on doing so many Paracons after Ghost Loop stopped airing, and I was lining a bunch of them. That's why I went and recorded. Originally, one of my songs was going to be played on Ghost Loop, but there was things that personally I wasn't happy with, and they knew I wasn't happy, and they kind of relinquished some of my privileges on the show because they didn't know if I was going to come back if it went further. So that was taken away from me, and I went and recorded another EVP EP. So you know, it is what it is. It was a pain in the ass. Yep, wasn't a good experience for me. Damn, Patness. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate it. Well, hopefully, the next opportunity's around the corner. Um, I don't think I'm done with, TV. I think there's something coming my way. What's up, Andrew? Oh yeah, I remember hearing that a long time ago, Vicky. Sometimes I gotta press the chat button for the Andrew getting yourself into trouble. Thank you so much, Trixie, Cat, Jason. What's up? Yep, that was hilarious, Jess. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate that. Appreciate the nice comments. Not much. Appreciate that, Brent. I've been like all over the country since the pandemic. It's luckily I never got sick or anything like that. Um, it's, you know, I feel humbled to be able to take all the trips that I've taken since you know I think in the fall is when we started taking those really big long trips. Been all over the damn place. I do got to make myself back out to California, that side of the country. Sometimes I have to click live chat. Oh, Gretchen, it's all good. Definitely, Amelia. Locked in the cemetery. Yeah, I'll never forget that. And thank you, Vicky. Um, that was in Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. I was live on Scope, and the guy locked me in, and I was laughing. I had to call the cops, and the cops were messing with me, and they're just like, "Yeah, you're gonna have to order a pizza because we're not gonna be able to get to you tomorrow." I'm like, dude, don't tease me with a good time here. I mean, do you really know what I'm doing here? Because I mean, like, being locked in the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery is not exactly a horrible thing to someone like me. But and then I started hearing drums playing in the cemetery, and the cop showed up and got me out. It was really funny. That was a long time ago. It's got to be like 4 years ago. Oh, PJ Nibbs. Yeah, Scope, man. It's like a thing of the past. It's crazy, right? To think that's gone. It's funny. I'm hanging out with Greg this weekend. He hasn't come out and investigated with me in a while, but I actually am hanging out with him this weekend. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I think you still have to wear masks in Connecticut, I think. Yeah, oh gosh, I know. Greg and I have had some comedic value while investigating, that's for sure. Oh my gosh. Um, but it looks like I got a couple investigations lined up next week. Two, maybe even more. Um, no, I know, I'm sure. Yeah. Doesn't always have to be serious, right? You gotta have some laughter. Oh my gosh. Yeah, with Chico. Yeah, you remember that? Oh my god, Greg would fall all the time. He literally was a bull in a china shop. Constantly. If there's one place in the country that's haunted I want to go to and spend the night, Amityville House. No question. 100%. That's what I would want to. He listens to a little bit of everything. Well, the Amityville House, I have personal involvement with experiences, regarding it. So I would love to lock me in that place for 24 hours. Oh yeah, he would constantly fall all the damn time. I would love to go overseas. Poveglia Island, man. Dracula's castle, caves, or anything. Of course, once things are officially back to normal. But until then, yeah, I'm seeing Greg this weekend. Um, but yeah, there'll be investigations next week and um, poster for Malithus and poster for the Para conference in Connecticut, here in Connecticut. Um, we'll be posting about that on social media. And again, there'll be a screening of Malithus in July for that. I think probably both days. And Malithus, you'll be able to stream it, I think, in the coming couple of weeks. I think I'm going to get to see the final cut end of this week. Make sure everything looks good and take another peek at it. Have a good night, Susan. Same to you. Um, but yeah, guys. And if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you guys follow me on Instagram. I do a lot of my updates and things in my stories. It's Sean D Austin, Sean. D is in David, Austin. On my Instagram, put a lot of updates on there. What I'm doing on there. Um, and thanks. You know, all you guys sharing these videos out as doing YouTube, because I've only been using YouTube proficiently since like January or December or something like that. So, um, Yeah, I'm pushing now. Obviously, you're on YouTube, so this is the new thing for me with live streaming. Thank you, Brenda. Um, but any other questions you guys want to ask me before I go? Um, Definitely some good questions tonight. Glad to share some stories that you may have not heard about, what I've experienced before. um, well, I don't, never saw myself lining up people to read, but Andrew's seen me randomly made some people cry at a party after drinking in Jersey. That was crazy. Yeah, thank you, D. um, yeah, next week I'll definitely be doing some investigations live for you guys. Holiday weekend, just gonna try to enjoy myself. Um, yeah, guys. Well, no problem, Girl Rush fan. Yeah, I definitely did a lot during the world being upside down. Um, no problem, Gretchen. Thank you guys all. You know, definitely a lot of stuff coming up in the coming weeks. And just this week, I'm just going to be chilling out and enjoying myself, which I hope you guys all get to do with your families and have a good time. Thank you, Trixie Cat. Same to you. Um, and I'll be back at doing some more investigations next week. Just want to come on here. Really good chat tonight. And again, you guys have a great, awesome holiday weekend, and I will be back soon. And look forward to next week's adventures. Yep, yep. All right, guys. Well, everyone have a good night. Thank you, Wendy. God bless. Be safe, and I will see you guys soon. And be safe this weekend and have fun. Enjoy yourself, and I'll see you on the flip side.